Hey guys, time for another 90 plus review. This time we're talking about Resogun, one of the launch PlayStation Plus titles and one of the first indie games to be announced as a console exclusive for the PS4. Resogun, basically if you have a PS4 and you haven't played it, you're pretty dumb. Sorry. It's a great game. If you've ever had any passing interest in space shooters like Galaga, or Gradius, or Life Force, Zaxxon, whatever, you owe it to yourself to try this game. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but it does put some new spins, no pun intended, on the gameplay. Instead of being a side-scroller, or being in an enclosed space like Asteroids, what it does is, the entire arena, if you looked at it from the top down, is shaped like an O. And everything you do goes around, and everything kind of particles in space, and it creates this really neat sense of depth. And it takes, with that idea, equal parts Choplifter, Defender, Gradius, Life Force, where you can upgrade weapons. You have to make sure you're watching out for the humans you're trying to save. The enemy variance is quite nice. The bosses take up ridiculous amounts of space, and there are patterns and things you have to memorize. It's a relentlessly difficult game, but not so much that you detest playing it. And it has an online co-op mode, which is amazing, in as much as you don't see that too often. Like, I remember Life Force being such a big deal because you could play with two people. That's why I love that shooter so much. You could both of you tackle the same thing. With the online, it just is way more fun because you're like, oh! And what's funny is that it is so technically proficient, this game. It's such a great game that you don't even realize how much is going on. First time I ever remote played my PS4 with my Vita from a truly remote setting. I used a hotspot on my phone, 4G, to connect to my Vita from within the house, but it's not on the same network, obviously. It's attached to a cell tower somewhere, and my PS4 is wired to my router. So I'm playing Resogun, and I'm noticing that I'm basically using the Vita as a controller on screen. There's no lag. I was like, oh, it's so great, it's so good, no input lag, which is cool over a 4G network. That's amazing. Then I get to the end of the level. At the end of a Resogun level, all these particles explode, and it just, this ridiculous amount of particles and polygons, I forget the term that they use, all over the screen, brought this thing to a screeching halt as far as the feed is concerned. The controls still worked, but there was just too much on the screen to stream. It was too much going on. And as soon as that initial wave went over, everything was fine. So when I have a 10 megabyte per second upload speed, and it overloads that with information, that should tell you how busy Resogun is. It's still available as a free PlayStation Plus title. If you don't own a PS4, and you have PlayStation Plus, go to the store online and put it in your cart and purchase it. That way the license is always there. And then when you get a PS4, you can play it like anyone else. If you... Like, Contrast was day one, but now you have to pay for it. That game's also worth it. I'll go into that one another time. I haven't gotten around to sitting down and beating it. I'm almost done with it, so I'll have to do that probably this week or something. And beat it so I can give you a full review of the whole thing, story, whatever. But Resogun clearly defined what an indie developer was capable of. And having come off of, Stardust, which had a great cult following, it really kind of, Resogun became this household name very quickly. And everybody was just like, I'm playing so much Resogun. Because it became the game that you went to when you were sick and tired of grinding in Assassin's Creed. When you were sick of losing your game save in Battlefield 4 in those early days. When you just couldn't get past that one track in Need for Speed Rivals. And friends of mine that have NAC, where it's like, it's a good departure from even that. Or it's like, my favorite use for Resogun to this day. If I'm on the phone with my mother, or I'm on hold, Resogun. All day, every day. and certain other Vita titles as well, which I'm getting more and more into as time goes on, as I've said before. But Resogun is just a great game. Great for hand-eye coordination, reflexes, tons of variance on difficulty, and the enemy waves are different. And when you think you've mastered it on one player, play it co-op because it's harder that way sometimes. So, worth it. On a 10-point scale, I'm going to rate it in class, meaning as far as shooters go, it is a 10 out of 10. Period. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with this game at all. Nothing. It's a perfect shooter. So, go get it. Footnotes. What came out yesterday was called... I want to say gun drones, but that's not the right word. So I'll talk about something else while I'm booting up my Vita to get the right title. They just released on, again, PlayStation Plus, whether you're a Vita owner or not. Street Fighter X Tekken on the Vita, it still sells for $40, is now free for Vita, so go get it. Even, again, activate the licenses even if you don't have any interest in the game. You never know. My best friend's wife, she saw the Smart As game and was really enthralled by it. Just so happened it was free that week on PlayStation Plus. He says, "Oh, I've already got a license for that. I'll download it for you." And then she played it. We need to get her own Vita, that's for sure. But that's the kind of thing. You always want to get the licenses when you can. Gunslugs, that's what it's called. Which is a great game. And I'll just show you a screen, if you'll indulge me. And it's really cool. It's kind of like the characters from Cyanide and Happiness, without any arms or legs, holding guns, jumping around. It's quite cool. And it's a really fun game to play. And I definitely found myself playing that way more than Street Fighter X Tekken, and I am a huge Tekken fan. So, right off the bat, you can see... Sorry about the glare there. You can see that the interface is quite antiquated. Select soldier, we'll go with him. Play. Sorry about the glare, guys. Here we go. Very basic, but I can tell you that, as you can see, it gets very crazy, and it's just a fun game. And oh, it's $2 for $2. This is amazing. So pick it up. And sorry to ramble so much, guys, but you know, when we do these shorter ones in the middle of the week, I want it to be kind of informal, because indie games, smaller games, they're informal. They're more fun. You think about other things. Strider came out this week. I'm getting it tomorrow. So that one, I'll probably talk a little bit about it because I'm a Strider fan. But again, because this is 90 plus reviews, I'm not going to talk about it at great length until it's at least 90 days old. So, see you guys in a day or two. And thanks for watching. Thanks for the suggestions. More stuff coming. Wait for it. Keep on grinding. Thanks, guys.